important seats. If you parked outside, your car might have gotten held.
All right, well, we will get started with presentations. And first, I have a bunch of questions about Victor.
Should I use your laptop?
Whatever you prefer.
I'll use yours. Okay, good.
It might be a minute. Yeah, it might be a minute between both of us. So,
Thank you. Luckily, I am just going absolutely freehand today, so I apologize in advance. Okay, well, close enough. Well, hello, folks. I'm Victor. I'm here with Electrify Chicago, which is a website to help you understand Chicago's big buildings. So we've presented at Show and Tell before, so I will skim over some of the kind of older stuff, but I want to give some general context for folks who haven't heard of this before. So essentially what we do is we try and make some big buildings in the city. You can have an understanding of what energy they use, how much they emit, and learn more about it. Because the city has a law called the Energy Benchmarking Ordinance that requires big buildings to report their energy use, and then the city then calculates their emissions. So, for example, if we looked at Merchandise Mart, we can take a look at that building and we give it a grade, we give it an A, and you can take a look at their greenhouse gas intensity, which is how much greenhouse gas emissions are created per square foot of building footprint. So it's normalized by size. So they're doing pretty well, and they've been improving over time. And you can look at their total emissions, and you can look at their energy mix. So what have we been up to in the past year? We actually did a lot of work in December to help push the budget and try and get the city to add an inspector position and enforce the benchmarking ordinance. One of the things that's happened is that there are fines that are supposed to be levied against buildings who do not report. Those fines have not happened. So the city has seen reporting go down as these fines haven't been levied, and we were trying to encourage others to put money aside and make that a thing. So we implemented, let's do like an address here. So we implemented a little reward search, connected some existing data to try and tie into the aldermanic boundaries and make it so people can type in their address, find their alderman, and email them and say, hey, take action on this thing. We did not quite succeed in the budget position, but the city did note the benchmarking ordinance as a source of revenue in the budget, confusingly. So hopefully they will do some enforcement soon, which is exciting. Other things, though, we now just really are working on different ways to slice and understand this data. There's a lot of buildings in the city, so it's really important to make it easier for people to understand how do buildings compare, what are class of buildings. So we now have these beautiful property type pages where you can, let's say, look at my alma mater, Illinois Tech, and look at what buildings we have in our data set from them, what's the distribution of grades, what's the total emissions, and better understand a portfolio of buildings. So this is a university, what are their buildings like? And then we also have similar for property types now. So if you go to a building and you click on its property type, there we go, you can now see statistics about a whole group of buildings. So in this case, these are 7 data centers that are known in the city of Chicago and report under this ordinance. And they use a combined 503 million kilowatt hours of electricity, which is equivalent to 480 of the standard buildings in this data center, which are big buildings. So this is tons and tons of energy. But they burn relatively little gas. And as you can see here, they're mostly electrical, which makes sense. So really just lots of different ways to slice and dice this data. And we're excited to keep doing more and try and show more stats. So one more thing I'll show off real quick. Our lovely developer Hunter worked on the citywide stats page. So we were making something that could show more a holistic view of the whole city. How's it changed over time? Is the greenhouse gas emissions going up or down? Are buildings getting more efficient? Answer questions like that. So really just trying to showcase Chicago's buildings and show people how they're changing. So I actually did not start a timer. I don't know if I'm...
You have a minute.
I have a minute? Oh my god. What will we do? I'll just...
Show Chicago folks.
Oh, well... Oh, wait, let me go back. Let's see how CPS is doing. CPS is a complicated one.
Yeah,
but they're actually surprisingly good. One thing to keep in mind, and one of the challenges of this data is that we can't see into how buildings are used. We have an outside perspective of emissions and energy use. My guess would be that schools are actually more efficient than the average building because of sun. So they are vacant a lot of the time, so they probably have better than average scores. But the cool thing is you can look up your high school and see, like, is it good or bad in terms of emissions, what are its characteristics, all those fun things. Yeah, what else? Oh, one more thing I almost forgot. We have a new print mode. So one of the things we want to do is encourage people to share our work. So if you have a building that you're interested in, or maybe it's your university building, you can click this print button, and we use this nice little preview that has a QR code, so you can print off a one-pager that has the key stats as well as a QR code to get more information. So we're really stepping into the new year trying to focus on marketing and growing our reach. So with that, I'll open up to questions with my remaining time. Felipe.
What's the worst offender today?
I think the worst is Crown Hall. However, they haven't reported data in a few years, which also doesn't help their case. In terms of recent ones, I think Digital Lakeside, this is also out of date, but this data center is very emissions intense. There's some complicated nuances there where, like, it's a data center, their job is to turn energy into compute, so whether that's as bad as Crown Hall, would be debate.
Can you tell us a little bit about what was it score?
Sure. Like the grades?
Yeah, the grades.
Yes, great question. So we thought a lot about how to grade buildings because there's such a limited set of data that we pull from it. We don't understand how properties are used. So the metric that we came up with, zoom in here so you all can see in the back, is we grade by emission intensity, 50%, 40% energy mix, and then 10% bonus for consistent reporting. And then in each of those factors, we just grade them basically on a bell curve. So a B in emissions intensity means that you are better than average. An A would mean you're in the top 20%. So like in the case of Marina Towers, they're a B in emissions intensity, A in energy mix, and an A in reporting. So they get an overall A.
Oh, okay.
Is that my cutoff?
You can ask another question.
All right. All the way in the back.
What tech did you use to build this?
This is powered by Vue.js using a static site generator called Gridsom. We want to keep our hosting costs down. So this is all just CSVs using a Python process to convert it into tons and tons of HTML pages. So we can host on that platform.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And next we have Ben showing us housebound. Yay, Ben!
Yes, please.
There it is. Perfect.
Hey everybody, I'm Ben. It's my first time here. I'm really excited to finally make a Shy Hack Night, so thank you guys so much for hosting me. Yeah, I'd love to show you guys what I've been working on. So essentially, the end of last year, I found myself out of work, and I had an idea for an app, so I decided to build it. And what Housebound is it's an app for Chicago dog owners to book local runners to exercise their pets. So I don't know if any of you are dog owners in the audience, or runners for that matter. But essentially, the marriage between the two just seemed like a no-brainer to me as a dog owner. So yeah, I'd love to show you guys just a brief overview of the platform here. So I'll go ahead and show you. So this is just test data. I'm launching the product in the spring, so I have a wait list for any interested parties. So I can show you guys the sign up page. But this is essentially like if you're a runner on the platform, you'll see requests, and I'll switch to light mode. It'll be easier for you guys to see. So yeah, so you have requests for the pets, and yeah, you could basically do the details. You can approve or deny requests, and then I also built this little schedule feature, pretty handy. And then in your profile screen, a little breakdown of how much you've earned on the platform, bio, and you can set your own schedule. And then, as I mentioned, you can approve or deny requests, and you can set your own pricing within kind of same bounds. And the big kind of selling point is links with Strava. So if any of you are runners here, Strava is a very widely used app for kind of tracking your runs. So I integrated that into the app. So after you complete a run as a runner, you can link your Strava activity with the run, so the owner can kind of see some details about. And I also built on-platform chat. So you can arrange things like meetups, scheduling, all those sorts of things. And yeah, I can show you here myself. So this is now from the owner's perspective. So if you want to book a runner, you have dogs that you add to your profile. You can see here, these are the available runners within your search criteria. You could book them through this little modal here. So these are the offerings that the runners selected to accept. You choose the dates that you want to have the run. I built in a little weather forecasting because that's important when thinking about things like this. And just only. So now I have a pending request to the runner, which you can then see in the other dashboard. Yeah, and that's really about it for the app. Yeah, thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
Did I see the app with the window font size?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
With the Strava integration, do you have any is there a way that you can limit and see the route? So would there be any privacy concerns of if I'm publicly posting, I walked your dog, and then it has your home address?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So the actual route data is not saved. So just things like pace, duration, things like that. Yes.
You rate the dogs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so
Yes.
Can I sign up to be the runner?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. That's actually a great segue. I intended to show this. So Humbug.dog is my landing page. So if you know anybody who is a dog owner or a runner, yeah, feel free to sign up. We'd love to have you on the platform. Yeah. Yes.
Wait, can dogs run marathons?
No.
No.
So yeah.
I don't have a dog. That's not normal, right?
Yeah. No. They wouldn't be running that distance. Yeah, I think you're referring to. I called it a marathon.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's just the 90 minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can dogs run for 90 minutes?
Some can, yeah.
Lots of treats.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, initially I'm kind of targeting areas along the lake and the 606 for access to running trails and also water.
Huskies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huskies and dogs that are built to run.
Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you all so much.
up we have Mo. And take it away.
Hey everyone, can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah. So you should bring it. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Just the dark.
Yeah. No, it's intermediate size. And yeah,
Hi. So 5 minutes really is not enough to do one project, so I decided to do three, but I have to try to do it.
Okay.
So the title is Save the City, Fix the Match and Wait for Brown Line, and 3 points are. So what is Save the City about? There's a lot of dashboards around, there's a lot of financial analysis, and I mean, I've seen it everywhere. I was trying to do something here, so I was like, okay, can I try to process this data and I can come up with some very concrete analysis? And again, essentially, parse the data, compare the different cities, and see if I can find any interesting findings, and I can try to publish them to a degree. Uh, I've done some work on it. So one of the things that I found, I was able to find a misspelling that was almost like a $1 billion misspelling. Essentially, it's something that was changed, and it had like an extra N in entity, that was causing like a huge portion of the budget that wasn't matching the earlier years. I've also been able to compare like 8 to 12 different cities and do some budget comparisons. It is very hard. It's a lot of data, but it is very dirty. It's very dirty. There's a lot of quirks in the data. So I mean, again, just finding what's something that can be presentable to others has been a very difficult challenge. But so far, we've done some data cleaning on it. And early days, if you are familiar with this area or done some projects in there, you're happy to talk to you later. So the next one is the fix and match. I think it's it's essentially a dating app, and I think we kind of forgot what a good dating app looks like. And again, I don't even seen it. There are hidden algorithms. There are like influence tools. There's like a lot of pay to fees. I think even like a high filter right now is behind the $50 paywall, which I think it's absurd. I thought, I was like, okay, can I rethink like this potential? Can I do something better? And I think the main idea is focusing on algorithm sovereignty. Not only, so again, there's a lot of work on algorithm transparency. Transparency without, so again, that's like the first pillar, but algorithm sovereignty goes far beyond. Just beyond being transparent, you need to be able to understand it, and we need to be able to act and change things you're not happy with. So what does it look like? Essentially, recommendation feeds very similar to the blue sky, that you can change and swap recommendation feeds as you want. You can have even a wildcard, a random recommendation filter for anything. You can have like custom filters with very dedicated, very transparent like impact on the pool engagement. No dark patterns, and when there's no one to show you, it just says that. You can have even fish detector, so anytime anyone wants like a fish picture, and because it's possible, like I can do it. And there is like a grant deadline this weekend. I'm applying for Mozilla democracy across AI. And the last project, I have a bathroom gallery, and I thought it would be fun to add a brown line tracker to it. It's technically outside my bathroom because I wanted to maintain the code, but it's there. It's to zoom in, and that is the end of it. Did I go too little too fast?
You have 2 minutes.
Okay, questions? Anything? And I have to expand on any other projects.
Yes. How did you do the brown?
Oh, Brownline Tracker, they have an API that you can use, and I built the dashboard myself. I can open source it, but it's not. Oh, I also drifted this is a Raspberry Pi Zero. I drifted this monitor for $10.
I have to think it does look like the ones they have on the screen. So
I made the exact replica. I took pictures. It took a lot of effort. I have pictures. I have this.
Yeah, share it and slap.
Yes.
So the fact that like every reputable dating site seems to collapse into the same sort of money-driven Tinder clone, maybe isn't that open for the future of like any attempt to fix dating apps? Do you have any thoughts about sort of like what the sustainable business model would be for the future in order to prevent that same fate?
I mean, Fix the Match, one of the puns was the Match.com. I think not a good company. I did not sell to the Match.com. I think they've collected the users and they stopped caring about them. One of the things that I really hoping, again, very hard to have any successful social media. Cold start profile is like a disaster and they have a lot of users, a lot of marketing. But even if I can make some features, some basic that people ask and demand them and they become widespread across all apps, I'll be happy. I think some basic feature, Jesus Christ, some basic features is genuinely one line of code and they put that behind like a paper. So yeah, I think it's possible. Better things are possible. We gotta try.
Best of luck.
Any other question? All right, thank you. Sorry. Oh, my PC was computer science.
I have a question. Is there a way to sign up for a presentation?
Yeah, you can show after. Yeah, we have an open policy declares room for anyone to show.
My bad.
Next we have paper mache.
Sure. All right. Go. So show of hands. Put your hands up if you went to like a 2-year or 4-year college. Okay. Keep your hands up if your professor assigned you a great research paper. Right. Okay. Keep your hands up if you can tell me exactly where those papers are today, other than just throw away in a trash can. Okay. Keep your hands up if you've heard of paper mache. Hopefully nobody's heard. Okay, great. So this is a chronic issue that we've encountered, and the idea was, this is a very old project. I started this back in 2012. We had back in Los Angeles. I was in college, going through the same thing. At our peak, we had 500 Facebook likes back when those were relevant. We had the engagement from Caltech, Occidental College, Cal State, all these buy-ins from these universities. The idea is very simple. Share your graded research papers and don't get kicked out of school. Right? Okay. So, how do we do that? We have what's called, to our advantage, a Creative Commons licensing. So what Paper-Mache does is basically a very simple concept. Repository, you're curating a personal portfolio of graded research papers that are available to a peer community for discovery and interaction. Okay, so it's like LinkedIn, it's like Facebook, more like Reddit, I would say. But it's academic, and it's furthering your academic careers, it's building your longitudinal cognitive development, it is giving you reputation to be a scholar, and so there's a lot of features I can kind of walk you through, but my aim here is to kind of understand the value proposition and why this needs to exist, right, today, even after all these years. Long story short, we had a bunch of work on here, we had a bunch of users, zero business model. I had so much damn technical debt. This thing folded hard. I was doing car title loans, student loans, and the reason was because I was a little hesitant to make this a for-profit venture. Because I was like, why don't I just do a nonprofit, do a 501c3? That was the wrong choice. So Paper-Mache is coming back, best it's ever been. We're doing ads, period, end of story. I'm incorporating this as a for-profit company. I'm going to do ads correctly, and I'll show you how and why. You get a profile. You get peers instead of friends. Peer me on Paper-Mache was a thing I was trying to make happen. I did. We had on this platform community college work next to Caltech. We had master's thesis level stuff, intro gen eds in the same place. If the paper wasn't great, you downvoted it, just like Reddit. Okay, every paper had its profile, had a portfolio profile, and you can interact with the full text PDF. So we have full text PDF annotations, and these are all social. So anyone who is logged in or abiding by the author's privacy preferences may see this document. If you like something, you highlight it, and you right-click the advertisement to this place will connect with that. And you discuss it. Hey, cool insight. Okay? And you can upvote, downvote those comments. And so the goal is a full interactive thread in text. Now this is borrowed from a lot of different sources, right? We've got social networks, we've got Reddit, we've got actual literal academic social networks. But the target market is, I think, unique. Because right now there's prestige and there's this sort of like, we're all aiming for the top with academic publishing. We do want to engage those folks. But in order to make revenue off of this, we have to have the rabble. We have to have that discourse. We have to have conflicting opinions and people upvoting, downvoting, and interacting with each other and their work. This activity happens at schools already. The professor is going to assign that work. They'll sit everybody down in the classroom, and everybody reviews the drafts, and then you go back and do this whole thing of getting a grade and throwing it away. So if I'm presenting to you, you're a group of students, I'm actually going to be coming to you having gone through the librarians and the professors to make sure that this is legit. Because part of this is reputation, and we want to have really good content on here, because that's going to drive revenue. So undergrad gen eds, students under pressure to make a deadline, they are going to be engaging and making better papers faster, right? That's the value proposition. We want to have, my time's up, a lot of other great features, and I'm happy to discuss them in the breakouts. Join me, hopefully. Questions? Any questions? You're in the back.
As a former grad student, if I had a paper I wanted to share. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Got an edu address? .edu?
No longer.
Okay. We'll figure it out, yes. The content is key. So, there's a lot of old content on there.
Do you cover every subject?
It's 100% interdisciplinary. Yes?
I can see it, I have posting your paper, I don't see a lot of information
Yeah, great. So let's pretend for a second that this PDF is relevant to your interests. So you like underwater hockey. Great topic, great hobby. Someone wrote a big paper on underwater hockey. And we're talking in depth. We're not talking short form. And this is something I think a lot of us are, uncomfortable with, or lately we're, shown to not really do much of, unless it's an actual book. So this is bringing that kind of like long form, indulgent, like consumption of topics that you like. And there's that interactive. So if there's something relevant, you can highlight it, and maybe if you're writing work, you're going to be adaptively reusing it. So the Creative Commons license is going to help you write it future. Yes.
So universities buy things all the time. Why not sell to the universities?
That's a great idea. And we will. We'll sell them ads. Partnerships, just didn't work. I did a 501c3. The speed of people registering was way too fast. I went from 0 content and users to a bunch. So ads are really, really fast. Go ahead.
I have a question from the live stream. Is there any kind of standardized peer review process?
It's at this point, great question. I see you in the camera. It's literally just a professor's grade. Okay? The vetting is the conflict, is that interaction once it's on there. So it's very different from an academic, a scholarly journal. Okay, we're just giving the grade, posting it, and then. Anyone else? Yes. Yes, John.
Any projections for AI generated content?
Thank you. You would have been a plan. Everyone heard of Turnitin?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's Turnitin, there's AI. All these things are guardrails to create rich, organic content. Because professors are going to be finding out how much AI you use using Turnitin, or if you just rip someone off. Creative Commons is adding an extra layer of intellectual property protection, so if someone does rip you off, you can take it off. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Ryan talking about equal power.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So yeah, I have nothing to show, so everything to tell, or really basically a request. So I'm Ryan Greenwell. I work with the City of Chicago with the Department of Planning and Development, supporting small business development. Yeah, I really, have enjoyed coming here. The first time I came here, I suggested that I was a civically engaged citizen. I would say that that's still, my orientation, and something that I'd like to get other public servants involved in. So the tale or request, again, is kind of twofold. Like Electrify Chicago and Landlord Mapper and Abundant Housing that we're here, I'd love to find ways to connect you all to whomever in the city may have the data that you all need to answer some of your questions, especially publicly accessible data, and just make that a little easier for you all to do the amazing work that you all are doing here countlessly each day, especially as it relates to anything clean, green, safe, strong, other type of initiatives and partnerships that I personally would have access to at the city, so could be able to point you all in the right direction. See exactly what we do there. And also, again, a little bit more about the work that I do. I support the commercial corridor revitalization. So we have special service areas. We're bringing about business improvement district, which is another form of commercial corridor revitalization. And I'm currently working on a project to we're ideating how to build a dashboard to show the impact across all of these commercial corridors. Currently have 58 of them. And just created a standard data set to kind of show metrics that we want to see. So, every SSA or business improvement district will share information about how much trash they're collecting, or how many hours of additional security they may have had, or how many planters or banners are placed, that type of stuff. I'm just trying to coordinate that on something that's nice and pretty and easily clickable and accessible for folks to know, what that looks like. So really just maybe viewing this as a way to also get support on expanding some of those ideas and making things more transparent across our commercial corridors. And ideally inviting other public servants across other departments who may have projects that you all are working on and bring them to this type of group. So it's like a breakout session full of potential mini breakout sessions, depending on what different projects they have. So I don't know. I thought about a breakout session. You all thought that there was utility in having something like that. We just wanted to share that. I will leverage myself as a resource for you all as you create your cool ideas, and would like to see how we can support that. Think this is worthwhile. I don't know. Have some data that you all might need.
I know,
from the city.
everybody's like,
Yeah.
what data do I want?
Maps, like you said, so I think going back to your project, it's probably something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gave my card
Okay,
already.
good.
Landlord mapper. We have a meeting scheduled
Did you
this
hear
week.
him last
So
week?
so reach out to him. So we're gonna connect with him with some DOH folks. See type of connections.
I think maps is like in the urban area, maps are really rich data maps. I could probably.
But I'm here. I have some cards. I want to chat and think about making a breakout room. So if you all are interested in supporting fellow public servants or want to know more about some publicly accessible data that you're having a problem getting, maybe I could be that kind of help you in the right direction.
We're opening it up to the audience. If anyone has anything on the show.
Oh, wait, one more.
Right. Hello everyone. My name is Saurabh. I recently graduated from DePaul in business analytics, and currently I'm working for a non-profit, and I'm exploring a way to. Right now, all of us have faced a situation where you just recently graduated and you have some salary in your hand, and you don't know which neighborhood to choose to live to save some particular amount. So I tried to solve that problem of identifying which neighborhood goods to stay in Chicago based on the publicly available data we have. The dashboard I built is called Chicago Intel, and it has covered 77 neighborhoods in Chicago City and has 6 layers of data. It's in a conceptual model. I pulled up some real-time, very few data points to prove that it has a potential, and it is 100% open source for sure. And this is a main focus we are in. Rent is not equal to affordability, and there is no the problem we are facing right now with all the information we have is there is no cross-sectional neighborhood comparison between all the neighborhoods in Chicago, and data do exist in publicly available information, but it is not built in a comprehensive manner which can help take actionable decisions on where to live. This one dashboard helps all the problems to solve, like surplus calculator will calculate if you have suppose $50,000 a year salary, and if your target is to save $500 a month, how we will do that, and which neighborhood will be ideal based on other different criteria. I will show the demo coming soon, and we show the safety score, which neighborhood has higher safety compared to what parameters you put, and interactive map will show in like a heat map for all the Chicago area, and vibe scoring, how good is the overall vibe of that neighborhood, how many restaurants, how many things to do, and what are the walk and run scores, how good the neighborhood is for walkability and running infrastructure, and then insight engine is based on rule based insight engine will give a actionable sentence and how to do things. This is about the surface calculator, how I did the calculation. If someone is interested, I can come back. And these are the data source I try to come up with, and the confidence level for all those data sources. One is rent. There is a publicly available data which is ACS. It's a 5-year-old data. And next is for safety purpose. We use the Chicago Public Department's data, and it has a confidence of how much good the data is of 7 to 8, and demographics from the data source ACS. This and walkability of CPA publicly available data, and running score by Park District and OSM trials data, and why by using the Yelp Fusion's API and CPA and editorial score. And these are the comparative options. So we have 5 tabs. One is finance, how feasible each neighborhood is based on finance, safety, why, walk and run score. I try to give a score from 1 to 10 and normalizing the data. So based on that, you can identify. And what the actual data shows, this is something good insights we came up with. And for example, from this dashboard, we came to know that Jefferson Park has good overall score compared to how much rent you're paying and how much monthly surplus you can save. Based on if you have $50,000 like yearly income and you want to save $500 of amount monthly, and which is the not so affordable, but still compared to other factor not so well is River North is some example, and overall scores like safety score, walk score, and vibe score for these 5 neighborhoods. And the dashboard I will show is inspired by recent classomorphism UI, which is all big tech companies like Apple is using nowadays in their thing. And these are the tech stack if someone is interested. These are the assumptions I came up with. These are the tax calculation and how much confidence I am in the calculations we did and the hierarchy based on that. This is the project in process and building. What are the future scope is to build a household profiles and increase the commute time using the Google Maps direction API, suburb expansion. It is just for Chicago City, suburb expansion and residence validation and real-time rent analysis. This is my whole presentation. If someone wants to see the dashboard here, they can do it. It's the dashboard, and that's my proof for this time.
Is this on GitHub? Can you like work this?
It's not yet. It's still in the link place. Yeah, this is the dashboard. On the left side, you can set parameters like annual salary you set, and there will be insights like safety score, vibe score, walk run availability score, and sources, what data source we use. And these are the things like based on the cost, safety, demographics, walkability, and running. This will change according to heat map change according to the score it is. Thank you. If anyone has questions.
Yeah, you
you talked about neighborhoods, but I think what you mean is community areas.
Yeah.
Because there are 77 designated community areas, and then each community area is large enough in Chicago that it might be comprised of multiple neighborhoods, and the vibe in each of those neighborhoods might be very different. For instance, I live in Uptown. We've got Central Uptown, and then we've got Buena Park. And Buena Park is a very nice community neighborhood. Neighbors all know each other, and they have a vibrant neighborhood association. Whereas in Uptown Central, it's like all commercial, and we've got the Aragon Theater and the Riviera Theater and places like that. So it's a lot of traffic in and out. So have you considered and I understand why you use community areas because there's a lot of data available at a community area level. But have you considered diving deeper into the neighborhood picture?
Yeah. I didn't quite understand your question. Can you come again?
Well, right now you've got these large community areas, but they're comprised of neighborhoods which might have different characters, different rent profiles, different vibe, and so have you considered trying to be a little bit more granular in your approach?
No, these are the publicly available coordinates we can define. If you want to further go on that much granularity, we need more first-hand data, which we need to gather by ourselves. And this maybe is good for future expansion. For proof of concept, I will restrict now for our publicly available coordinates.
Great.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything they want to?
I have something to bring. I'm okay with having computers. You know when I can start. Hi, I'm Ani, she, her. I live and work from the ground up without computers for the most part every day. In terms of the presentation, the goal that I set out on years ago when reaching out to people and speaking with them about what it could look like for urban agriculture, urban farming in our area in Midwest North America, without all the fluff that comes with water usage and other costs. So I'm at the point today where I'm living and working without the fluff of high-cost things such as gasoline vehicles, unless I need them if my vehicles fail, and living without big tech, living without a lot of things. And when I do access computers, I access computers that run Linux, that open hardware, and I guess open software. I don't know exactly how to phrase it because there's so many intricacies inside of it. But they're off most hours, whether that's about the food or the water, the shelter, transport, anything functional to pay the bills. So this happened over a bunch of years that I can maintain my enjoyment of computers without having to monetize or capitalize on what the computer is for. And so what this functionally accomplishes is a very low carbon footprint. All that I have to hold on to is all these papers, my files, and this is to speak with other people who also live and work in our Midwest North America. So I'm going to go back to the phrase what it functionally accomplishes, because there's a lot of fluff in how we interact with computers today since the birth of the internet in 1991. My goal was to have more stable relationships with other places outside of the US nationally, and those stable relationships being at the human level instead of asking for more resources from any of our different groups anywhere around the world. And, it came down to, this is how we eat, this is the organic produce, this is the goal. How are we going to do this? How are we going to practice this today? So I drew from a number of organizations that have been working on things similar to resource costs of recycling, any upcycling of resources, and for reachables that become abundant in an urban life. And pulled from what had been happening since around the 70s in Chicago to from where I started in 1991 as in terms of my relationship with the internet and how they were guiding computers, jumping forward to, I no longer am on the trial period with big tech. I no longer share my money with any of the companies that require something similar to an internet utility, where I think they should go. Though that's only me, and I'm only one person. Needless to say, all the water that I saved and all the costs that I saved for being off computers, that's only one person. In practice, this results in food to eat that's organic, that is within human reach of the people around me. Eventually, water that is clean enough from a solar still. And again, I'm coming back to the two words, what it functionally accomplishes. The goal is to take away any of the externalities of what computers were making us do in terms of practice, and get down to the nuts and bolts, get down to the bones of how we could live without all the fluff, how we could prevent that rainstorm from happening in March, early March. How we could have healthier summers instead of. So anyway, I'm going back to what it functionally accomplishes, because what this formally looks like is urban agriculture, urban farming from the ground up, with garden beds and soil, shipping container, and infrastructure for human-to-human mesh networking. At the end of the day, this is my carbon footprint for the year, and this has been with me for around 4 years. And that's my one small version of how we can live and work without causing more harm than we need to, in terms of running factories until we have what we need. Thank you. Feel free to ask any questions. I also exchanged contact information after being up here, because this is a little bit high, and that screen is very costly.
Good time for 51 questions.
I can't actually tell what's in.
Oh, this is computing.
Oh.
In a case.
Oh, interesting. Right.
Is it open hardware?
Yep, open hardware.
What is it? Can you explain what is it?
Yeah. There's I don't know exactly the details, but this particular computer is from Pine 64, an international team of people that have been designing open hardware and software and the factory is, I know they're on the ground at the same place as the factory instead of separating the two. Similar to minimalism, there's everything's the same thing in terms of open hardware and people you speak with. There's no nothing else in terms of priorities other than having a computer that you can look through and see all the files. Does that make sense? The goal for why I'm on this computer, when I'm on it, is to be able to have power over it instead of it having power over my money or any of my, what you'd want to call information.
Oh, you can do it?
Hi, I'm not presenting on anything that's like actually relevant to the hack night. I made this other presentation for my friends. I hosted a PowerPoint party this weekend. I made this for fun. So we'll see how much I can get in 5 minutes. Also, hi, in case I wasn't here earlier, I'm Edwin. And in the context of this presentation, I am like a credit card nerd, but not as extreme as I could be. We'll get to that. And I want to talk about some credit card nerd drama today. So, let's get into it. So, I'm not sure if y'all can see the Instagram story slide on the right there, but for big context, none of the executive of the company built, like, they posting about their customers, calling them, like, basement dwelling losers. So, we're going to get into why that happened, and here's what you could expect over the course of the next however many minutes. So, briefly, let's go over, like, what credit card nerd really looks like. If you are not a credit card nerd, if you just use them like normal people, you're probably down here. You probably just, you like your cash back. You don't really pay credit cards, as you probably shouldn't. If you don't use credit cards at all, or you pay interest, you're not even on the pyramid because like you are incidentally funding the rewards that happen higher up. So it's not there. Nerds are who I consider people who actually like deal with points or pay credit cards, or people on the maximum end of the pyramid who, from what I understand, like orient their spending around credit card rewards in a way to maximize the most that they can get through Visa gift cards. That's a level of nerddom I don't understand, but trust me, there are people who do it. Anyways, there are also a couple of like general rules of credit card nerddom. The first one being just don't pay interest, because any interest you pay is gonna counteract any rewards that you would get. 27% interest, 4% rewards, even at the higher end, it doesn't really make sense. Other ones are relevant, so you don't be a snitch, companies are not your friends, and redeem points as well, which will all be relevant in a couple of slides. So about images here, in case you're curious, American Express has a rewards abuse team that they call the RAT team, which I think is nice. But in the context of presentation, there's a company called Built who works with landlords to offer a way for them to not have to pay a typical transaction fee on rent privileges, but for users to be able to pay with a credit card for their rent. We can talk about the ethics of that, but their value proposition was basically offer the service to people. So, how can they target basically people who are normal and people who actually are credit card nerds? They went to Wells Fargo with this idea because Wells Fargo had a very poor credit card portfolio and also some historical drama with opening up accounts that people didn't ask for. So they were kind of in need of new customers. The only thing that they really asked Wells Fargo was, hey, like, again, landlords typically pay a 3% fee for credit card transactions. That's why if you pay for rent with a card, you've probably seen that, they pass along to you. So Bill was like, hey, what if we cover that fee? You're going to get a whole bunch of people coming in wanting to use our card to not have to pay a fee on rent, right? Well, the math might not have worked out in the way that they intended, because the offer was basically 1 point for every dollar you spent on rent, no transaction fees, so they're covering the 90 or however many dollars of transaction fees would normally be, in exchange for using the card 5 times a month outside of your rent, and no fee. So the logic of the economics might not be making sense to you guys, and it's because it's not supposed to make sense.
There's an image on the side, this is the thing that people typically did, from what I understand, where people would go to a supermarket and just buy 5 bananas individually to have them a transaction hit so they can get their points. But obviously the math isn't working out. And this caused some issues because Wells Fargo expected interest to happen, and that didn't happen because people didn't use the card like that. So caused some drama, caused a little bit of a breakup between Bill and Wells Fargo, but let's go back to why did Bill think that would work? So we can do a couple of thought experiments as to what they assume. In my mind, they're just trying to blitz scale to get bought out because the math doesn't make sense anyways. But even best case scenario, they were trying to have people pay their rent using credit card and just pay interest on that, which is a little bit evil. But anyways, they tried again with another company, but because that company saw what happened with Wells Fargo, they were like, we need to make money somehow. So what they decided was to basically devalue the card so it didn't make sense anymore. 2 things, for example. One, you have to pay the transaction fee now. So you used to not have to pay for it before, now you do. So that doesn't make sense anymore. And you only get points depending on how much you pay for on the card in addition to your rent. So if you only pay for your rent on the card and then buy 5 bananas, you'll get a quarter of the points. So a quarter point per dollar you spend. You'll only get 1 point or more if you spend the amount of your rent on other stuff. So if you have a $4,000 rent, you spend $4,000 on random junk to get the points. So that doesn't make sense either. So people were clowning that because economically it might make more sense, but obviously it ruins the proposition of the actual card. There's a chart on the right side there where someone actually charted out the values on Reddit. Very very fun chart to look at for the. It looks like logarithm. We can skip through some of this, but basically there's also some shill drama because people who were promoting the card, it didn't go well. But yeah, now you have context for why this happened. Fun story. And then I think I have one more slide. If you find that something is probably too good to be true in the financial space, take advantage so you can have a fun story like this guy. And yeah.
What's that point about using debit or gift cards?
So from what so run that back a little bit. Let me go back to the so there are certain cards that offer you cash back up to a certain dollar maximum. So for example, the Discover card, which I pictured here, has a 5% rotating categories of cash back. And when it's supermarket, for example, people will go and buy up to $7,500 in gift cards at the supermarket to get the maximum type of cash back, and then use the gift cards to live on, from what I understand. Now you can do this. It is low key against, I think, credit card rules, but people do it. One of the blogs I mentioned in the later slide, not credit, will mention anytime the basic gift cards are on sale, because typically you can't just buy $100 for $100. It's you have to pay a transaction fee or a fee for that. So when there's fee-free Visa gift cards, those people go crazy because it's a punch time. Yeah.
What was you're mentioning what were the points that a Bill card had? So it was you didn't pay a transaction fee on rent, but then you also got 1.25% cash back on your rent?
So the initial card was 1 point for every dollar you spent on rent. There's no transaction fee for paying the rent and also paying the fee.
So if you spent $2,000 on rent, you would get $200 back. Sorry, $20 back.
Yeah. So obviously people took advantage of that. So that's why they changed it to be a quarter of the points, and also you have to pay the fee. So now you don't.
What's the subreddit?
The subreddit is built. And they have, they haven't really enjoyed, I say this about it until the end. They haven't really enjoyed the reaction. I found this on there. But yeah, they're also a little bit leaning into it a little bit because you can buy it on the Built merch site, which I think is interesting.
The banana?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So. Wow. Are there any other people that want to have a last minute show?
Can I go again?
If not,
tell us about Manhattan and Serbia?
Yes, I have a presentation I'll close us out, I guess, with our last presentation before we head out into breakout groups. This is a very fun little story how Manhattan temporarily became Serbian for a few months in 2024. I'm saying it ever for myself. Hi, if you don't know me, I'm a software engineer. I am also an avid Wikipedia user. I edited my first Wikipedia article in middle school or something. And I noticed my middle school Wikipedia page didn't have many details, and so me and my best friend added a bunch of things like our school colors and our rival school's mascot, and things like that. And a week later, it's all dead. But it was a nice introduction to Wikipedia. And I'm also just curious about the inner workings of the internet of different sorts. So how it started. Sometime in 2024, one of my best friends was in a cafe and was eavesdropping a conversation, as the beginning of all great stories. And here's someone mention an architect, Myers van der Poel, and that architect made a building, well, many buildings, but one building in New York City. And so my friend goes down this Wikipedia rabbit hole and ends up on a Wikipedia page that is for the building in New York City, and sees this little diagram and all these, the text in a different language, which we find out is Serbian. And so, in another world, it might have ended here, but my friend messaged me, these are screenshots. She frantically messaged me and she's like, Sneha, you're better at digging into obscure internet things than I am. I'm like, yes, I am. And so, like I said, in another world, it could have just ended there, but now there's two of us looking into this, not one. And that is what prompts a thorough investigation. And so we started by just looking at other buildings in New York City. Lo and behold, they also have this text in Serbian that's with the map image on the Wikipedia page. And we're looking into this further, and we found out that is only Manhattan that has the text in this different language. Brooklyn is fine, everywhere else in the nearby area is fine. And so we're what is happening? And so we're looking into it. Behind the scenes, Wikipedia uses OpenStreetMaps. And so we go behind the scenes and look at OpenStreetMap. And we find out that on May 3rd, which is a month before that, someone added several SR Latin labels to places in Manhattan. And we look forward, and I think this happened. I have another slide, but I should have had another slide that showed that this person that made this change added this label to about 60 other places in Manhattan specifically. And so me and my friend were maybe this is an OpenStreetMaps bug. And so my friend DM'd a contributor, and I was hey, I just DM'd a random person, I'll report back. And then, lo and behold, the person that was behind that, responding to the thread, was hey, there's actually a bug behind this, and it was reported, and a fix got deployed. And so, what went wrong? Well, on the Wikipedia side, Wikipedia uses a library called Carthotarian, and it's basically a library of OpenStreetMaps and Wikipedia work together. So whenever you see a Wikipedia article and you see the map, this library is kind of a way to tell the web page how much do I zoom in on that page, and where do I focus? etc. Just like details for the map part of that Wikipedia page. And it turns out there's a bug where Latin script basically took a priority over any non-Latin script. And so combined with this OpenStreetMap change, it basically caused the perfect storm of introducing this bug. And also on Wikipedia's side, they use an internal bug reporting tool called Fabricator. If you like Google Fabricator, you can end up on Wikipedia's tooling pages and you can look at specific bug reports. Turns out the bug was first introduced in 2018, just a long time before 2024. It just took a long time for things to get sorted, tracked, identified, and then May 9th, the bug fix went out for this. So why did it take so long? Well, on the Wikipedia side also, featured articles are like a really big thing. Featured articles get a lot of views every day, like I think 4.7 million times, or like daily page views. And just to give you an idea of the timeline again, sometime in 2022 is when the bug was introduced. May 3rd, 2024, that's when we tracked down all these labels added in New York City for OpenStreetMap. In May 9th is when the bug was fixed. And May 10th is when this large building in New York City was one of the featured pages. And so I don't think it was a coincidence. I think it was around the time that the bug was fixed that or around the time that this feature was or this page in New York City was the featured web page, that a lot of eyes are on this page in New York City. Someone fixed the bug. And then fast forward a month later, that's when me and my friend found this bug, and a week after that is when it was deployed live. So, all in all, I found this after the fact of everything happened. So why does this matter? I guess two reasons. One, it's just cool to see that it's archived. If you go back on Wayback Machine and you go to any Wikipedia page in Manhattan from May 3rd to June 27th-ish in 2024, you can see the maps are in a different language, and so it's just a fun piece of internet history that I think no one else really cares about or knows, but it's there. And then two, I think it just speaks to how cool it was to track and look this down, even though I had no part in the bug fix whatsoever. It's really cool to see open source in action. OpenStreetMaps is a very open platform. So is Wikipedia. At no point in this entire investigation did I have to authenticate as a user to log in or do anything. And it was very, very easy to track it down. Yay for transparency. And I encourage you all to look at open source tools and hack the way around.